Sony's Kraven the Hunter has finally arrived in theaters. But if the early reviews are anything to go by, the hunt for a solid Spider-Man spin-off might be over before it even began. With Aaron Taylor Johnson in the lead role and a story revolving around Sergei Kravinov, a man turned superhuman after a brutal attack by a lion, this film promised a unique take on a Spider-Man villain. But the reviews are here, and they're not pretty. Let's start with the scores. On Rotten Tomatoes, Kraven the Hunter sits at a shocking 14%, one of the lowest scores for a Sony Spider-Man universe movie. Metacritic too gives it a mere 33. These numbers don't just spell trouble, they tell a story of missed potential, disappointment, and perhaps another nail in the coffin for Sony's superhero ambitions. Now you might be wondering, what went wrong? Is it the acting, the special effects, the story? Well, critics have weighed in, and let's just say it's not a pretty picture. Jonathan Sim from Coming Soon did praise the movie for one bold choice. It's R rating, but he quickly points out that the film suffers from sluggish pacing. In his words, the movie is only fun when the action kicks in because the dialogue scenes are a drag. So what we get here is a movie that, according to Sim, isn't able to find its rhythm until the action scenes, meaning it takes too long to get to the fun part. Then David Fear of Rolling Stone put it bluntly, Kraven the Hunter doesn't have much reason to exist. Fear wasn't shy in criticizing the film's script, calling it messed with and doctored up in all the wrong ways. He even goes as far as saying the movie is a self-inflicted kill shot by Sony. It's a harsh jab, but it speaks to the frustration fans feel when a movie that has so much potential falls so short. And then there's the CGI. Oh, the CGI. David Ehrlich from IndieWire takes aim at the special effects, saying they go from adorably cartoonish to done as cheaply as possible by a studio trying to cut its losses. That's a pretty scathing review of a movie that for many should have been a visual spectacle. Instead, it seems like the film tried to save a few bucks at the expense of the audience's experience. Despite Aaron Taylor Johnson's best efforts as Kraven, who's a man torn between his complicated relationship with his father and his desire for vengeance, the movie just couldn't deliver. The character's journey, which could have been rich and emotional, ends up feeling like a confusing mess of cliches and missed opportunities. And that's before we even dive into the overall incoherence of the plot. Let's not forget Kraven the Hunter isn't the first Sony Spider-Man spin-off to fail to impress. Morbius, remember that one, also suffered from poor reviews and dismal scores with a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Sadly, Kraven the Hunter seems to be following in its footsteps, with many critics noting that it could be another example of Sony mishandling its universe of Spider-Man villains. So, what does this all mean for the future of the Sony Spider-Man universe? If Kraven the Hunter is any indication, the future looks bleak. With underwhelming reviews and lackluster scores, Sony might need to rethink its approach to these villain-focused films. It's clear that a lot of fans were hoping for a film that could stand on its own, something that could carve out a new niche in the superhero genre. Instead, we've been given another forgettable entry that barely scratches the surface of Kraven's potential. But hey, maybe there's a chance to turn things around. Kraven the Hunter may have stumbled at the starting line, but in the world of comic book films, you never know what's next. Could future installments redeem this character? Maybe. But for now, it looks like Kraven's hunt for success has come up empty.